This is the Math 099 midterm review. So the first thing is to solve this equation. So absolute values always have two answers. We start by just ignoring the absolute value signs and solving the equation. Anytime we have fractions, we'll find the common denominator, which in this case is 15, and we'll multiply everything by 15. 2/5 times 15 is 6, plus 3x times 15 is 45x, is equal to 2/3 times 15 is 10. Getting the constants on the same side, we'll subtract 6. This leaves us with 45x is equal to 4. Divide both sides by 45, and we have our first answer, which is 4/45. Like I said, we have two answers for these. The second comes from setting this equation equal to -2/3. And this is because the absolute value of 2/3 is the same as the absolute value for -2/3. Once again, we'll multiply by 15. This time, we get 6 plus 45x is equal to -10. We can subtract 6, and this gives us 45x equal to -16. Dividing both sides by 45 then gives the second answer to this problem. X is equal to -16/45. Number 2, we want to solve this and write the answer using interval notation. So solving an inequality is almost just like an equation. The only difference is if you multiply or divide by a negative number. So the first step is to get the constants on the same side and the variables on the other side. I'll start by subtracting 4x. This will eliminate the need for us to multiply or divide by negative numbers. 8x minus 4x is 4x, plus 8 is greater than or equal to -28. Then subtracting 8 over, 4x is greater than or equal to -36. Divide both sides by 4, and we get that x is greater than or equal to -9. To write this in interval notation, we determine what is the smallest thing x can possibly be. Well, that's -9, and we are actually including this, so we'll use a square bracket. The largest thing x can be is infinity. And infinity always gets a parentheses, since it's more of an idea than an actual number. Number 3, arrange the polynomial in descending order, and then evaluate when x is equal to -2. So the first step is to arrange in descending order. So that means our exponents should be decreasing. The highest exponent is p to the 9th. Next is 3p cubed. After that is 8p squared. We then do the -2p, and the -9 comes last. So now we'll evaluate when x is -2. So we're just going to change all the variables to -2. And then we'll work it out. Order of operations tells us that we should do exponents first. 2, -2 to the 9th is -512, plus 3 times -2 cubed is -8, minus 8 times -2 squared is 4, minus 2 times -2, minus 9. Now we should multiply. 6 times -512 is -3072, minus 24, minus 32 plus 4 minus 9. Working this out gives negative 3,133. Number 4 wants us to add polynomials. When you're adding, the parentheses mean absolutely nothing. So we'll go ahead and drop them, and then we can add these polynomials. When adding polynomials, we want to add things that are like terms. This means both the variable and the exponent should be the same. So I'm going to start with descending order. So the highest exponent we have is a 7. I have 8x to the 7th plus 6x to the 7th. 8 plus 6 is 14, x to the 7th. The next thing we have is the 6th power. I have a negative 4 minus 3 is negative 7, x to the 6th. After that, I have an x to the 5th. 2 plus 2 is 4x to the 5th. And then finally, negative 5 plus 8 is 3. Number 5 wants us to subtract. When we do this, the first parenthesis doesn't mean anything, but the second one does. A negative sign in front of a parenthesis means we'll change the sign all the way through. So negative 1 plus 2x to the 6th minus 2x to the 7th minus 2x to the 5th. Just like adding, we'll combine like terms. I have an 8 minus 2, which is 6x to the 7th. I then have a 7 plus 2, so plus 9x to the 6th. If I look for the 5th exponent, I have negative 8 minus 2 is negative 10 x to the 5th. And finally, negative 6 minus 1 is negative 7.